All right, during an explosive interview with Gayle King on CBS, embattled singer R. Kelly denied sexual abuse allegations that have been leveled against him. Trace Gallagher tonight in our West Coast newsroom. He has the very latest. Trace, great job by Gayle King. I thought she did phenomenal.
Yeah, and she says she wasn't worried about him, felt threatened by him at all. But R. Kelly, as you know, Sean, was taken back into custody today, and it appears that he'll stay in jail until he comes up with $161,000 in back child support. But that could be the least of his problems, because Kelly is accused of sexually abusing 4 females, 3 of whom were underage at the time. Prosecutors say there is ample evidence to support the charges, including testimony from alleged victims and a reported videotape that allegedly shows Kelly having sex with a girl who repeatedly states that she's only 14 years old. During that interview with Gayle King on CBS, R. Kelly says he's done, quote, lots of things wrong, but denies the latest charges. Watch this.
Robert. I didn't do this stuff. This is not me. I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this. I gave y'all 30 years of my career.
Robert.
30 years of my career. Y'all trying to kill me. You killing me, man.
Yeah, Kelly could spend 30 years behind bars if he's found guilty. Kelly says people are trying to use his past to prosecute him now. The singer was acquitted of child pornography charges back in 2008. CBS also interviewed 2 women who live with R. Kelly, including one whose parents think she's being held against her will. Kelly said the parents sold him their daughters, later saying they handed them over. The parents, of course, deny that. Sean.
That perhaps the most insane part of what he said today. Scary interview. Great job by Gayle King. Trace Gallagher in our West Coast newsroom. Also today, our friend, Fox News contributor, investigative reporter for The Hannity Show, Lawrence Jones. He was on Capitol Hill. He tried to ask House Judiciary Committee Chair Jerry Nadler about his investigation into President Trump. Watch this.
Do you trust the Mueller investigation, Chairman? You just opened up your own investigation. Do you have any comment about that? You said that the president has instructed justice. Do you have any evidence of that, sir?
Joining us now, Fox News contributor, our own Lawrence Jones is with us. Lawrence, he wasn't that communicative, but that's the guy on the first day that said he's guilty of obstructing justice. In part because he fired Comey, but even Comey had said, no, he could fire me for any reason or no reason at all, legally and constitutionally.
That's exactly right, Sean, and he wasn't willing to provide us with any type of evidence of it because there's no evidence of it. What we're seeing right now, Sean, is that the Democrats are seeing that Mueller's investigation is wrapping up. And everything that they expected him to come up with, there's been no evidence of it. And so after saying they trust the Mueller investigation, now they want to conduct an investigation of their own. There's no evidence of it. And this is why libertarians like myself, they're on the conservative wing of the movement, have always questioned the power that the FBI has and members of Congress have, because now they target political opponents when they don't get what they expected.
All right, Lawrence, great work today, and I know you'll be back on Capitol Hill a lot. Thank you so much for that tape and that story and sharing it with us. Now, we told you a story yesterday. A conservative watchdog group filed a complaint with the FEC alleging Democratic Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her chief of staff illegally funneled nearly $1 million in contributions from political action committees to private companies. My next guest says this could, in fact, have her end up in jail with jail time. Joining us now, former FEC Commissioner Bradley Smith. Commissioner, thank you for being with us. Maybe Pleasure. You could explain it to the average person. It gets complicated, but it really is simple.
Okay, well, let's not get ahead of the game and start talking. The penalties can include jail time for knowing and willful violations, but we're a long way from that. They haven't even filed formal responses. But quickly, what is it they're accused of doing? These 2 PACs, Justice Democrats and Brand New Congress, took in over $3 million. They then paid about $1.5 million to an LLC owned by Ocasio-Cortez's chief of staff, this fellow Chakrabarti. Now, what was done with that money, we don't know. Chakrabarti says he didn't take any salary, didn't take any profits, but then the question is, what did they do with it? It looks like a shell game in which they spent the money probably to subsidize a number of different candidate campaigns, and that would be major reporting violations and major violations of the amounts that one can spend on campaigns. So we don't know all the facts yet. There could be an explanation that I don't know, but I've got to tell you, I've been in this business for 25 years. I look at it, it looks like a shell game, and it certainly merits a major investigation by the FEC. And we should remember
what is the process from here? Explain how what would be in this 25 years. What is the next step process?
Yeah, the FEC will open an investigation, and they'll have a lot of different questions to ask about all the principals involved, who knew what, who was controlling what entity, why money was paid over, what expenses were for. And at the end, you could end up with very significant civil fines, or again, if it were found to be a knowing and willful effort to violate the law, possible criminal penalties, but we're ways from that. But I really want to emphasize one other thing here, Sean, if I can, which is Ocasio-Cortez is going to vote with all the Democrats in the House on Friday for this H.R. 1 to put more restrictions on ordinary Americans, but they don't want to abide by the restrictions they already have in place. And I think that's a big issue, regardless of what comes out of this investigation.
Well said. We talk a lot about Hillary Clinton and the dossier and how the money for the dossier was paid. Donna Brazile said that Hillary controlled the money at the DNC at the time, but you had Hillary campaign money, DNC money that she supposedly was in control of, and I believe Donna Brazile funneled to a law firm, Perkins Coie. Perkins Coie hires Fusion GPS, an op research firm. They hire a foreign national, Christopher Steele. He uses dubious Russian sources, now debunked Russian sources, to create a series of documents that become a dossier. That sound like a campaign finance violation to you?
It's probably not. You can pay a foreigner to do work for you. It sounds like a lot of other problems, but just doing that payment probably is not a campaign finance violation.
Well, it's certainly not. You're not paying a law firm. You're just funneling the money through the law firm. Why do I think if I did it, I'd be in trouble?
That's right. And one might wonder about whether it should have been reported differently, which could be a civil penalty for inaccurate reporting.
Man, it's only if Hannity does it, then throw him in jail. Chairman, thank you. We appreciate it. When we come back, we have breaking news on the deep state. Devin Nunes will weigh in on the Democrats' endless investigations and where do we go from the abuse of power scandal. Also, a new segment we're calling our closing argument tonight. You don't want to miss it. Straight ahead.